You're not confused. You're just in a really sexy confusion costume. I know that you're scared. I get it. But I don't know now is becoming a really sexy excuse. Saying I'm afraid to say it out loud is the thing that you've dressed up and made look beautiful and wonderful, and you're lying to yourself. That thing that you're calling confusion is actually just your clarity wrapped in really beautiful fear. And today we're going to talk about that. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I'm a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 39 books and counting. I help folks write, publish, market their books to bestseller, and everything that goes beyond that. I've worked with over 5,000 authors in the writing space and have been a marketing company for nearly 40 years now. But what I really do, what I'm known for, what I love doing is helping you get clear, helping you find that powerful clarity that leads to your breakthrough, first of all, but also you having the impact that you're meant in the world and you helping others make the breakthrough that they're meant to. They were born to make, but they're waiting on you. You see, all too often, bear with me here for a second while I invite a couple of people in, but all too often, seriously, we spend our time, in the excuse zone, living a life that makes all of these beautifully, wonderfully sexy excuses for why right now isn't the right time. It will be soon, but not just yet. Or when this happens, then I'm going to. Or, if I only just had, right? Have you ever heard yourself making those excuses? And the worst one of all is the I'm afraid, I'm confused. And we use those. We do, absolutely. Every single one of us. This is not me picking on you. This is me pointing all 10 fingers back at myself because I've done it more times than you have. And it's so easy to fall into that space and just do that versus, really just showing up and just doing it. Just being the strong, mighty, powerful, amazing world transformer that you absolutely are. And so today, absolutely, yes, I'm telling you to strip it off completely, to go and be the real, raw, naked, valuable, and vulnerable version of who you are, to do the thing, do it afraid, absolutely, do it terrified, because in that terror is a release for you. And when you're vulnerable enough to express that terror to others, it becomes the release for them as well. And that's what someone is waiting on. We've talked about somebody suffering in your silence. And it's not because, you're being abusive to them or you're even mean to be mean to them. And I apologize if it ever came across that way. Because they need the real you. They need the totally raw, absolute you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to recenter ourselves. We've been doing this a lot this week, and we're going to continue doing it. It may become an ongoing process because, I've got all the plate spinning. We talked about me multitasking and doing all of that. And I need to recenter for you to be here for you too. So all of us are going to stop for a second. We're going to take that really good deep breath. And if it leads to a yawn, even better. Really take it in and be at a place where we can really advance and be the we that we are meant to be. That's not real good grammatic English, but it really did come off well as far as poetic English goes. So are you ready to take a deep breath? Are you ready? Okay, let's do that. I want you to see what I did there. I want you to really truly understand it so that it doesn't go past you. Okay, because normally when I say, let's take a deep breath, we all do this. We go, and that's our deep breath, and you saw how my shoulders raised. And, that isn't really a deep breath. And often when we intentionally want to, like we were talking yesterday, reboot ourselves, and we say, okay, I'm going to stop and take a deep breath. We breathe in, and we maybe even do that deep diaphragm, deep breath, but we do it really quickly, right? And what you saw me do there was breathe and then breathe in some more and then pull in even more and get to the place where it was beyond just bringing in air. It's inviting you as the listeners in. It's inviting all of the things that I need to say to you today to be in so that it can be inside of me and then come out of me. My hair is looking crazy this morning. Thanks for loving me anyway. I appreciate that too. Um, you know, and I really, in case I haven't said this enough, I really do appreciate you. Whether you're live or on the replay, whether this is your first time here or you've listened to every single time I've ever talked, poor you for all the times you've heard me rant. I really, really do appreciate you. I'm so grateful for you. You see, that costume, the mask, the stuff that we put on and then present to the world, this is the real me. Yeah, it really, truly is. That's why sometimes, today I threw on a collar, but I actually considered wearing the t-shirt, and it's just kind of a habitual for me. But, the you that is you is who needs to show up. Now, I actually, I don't do it as much as I used to. And it's another one of the reasons why I'm leading myself towards being on stage more often, because I do actually like dressing up. It's another one of the reasons why I really want to lose the weight, is because I always feel better when I'm in nice clothes, but nice clothes really only look good, when when you feel good about how you feel, and they're not all uncomfortable and stuff. It's interesting. This is totally on what we're talking about, but it's going to feel like a segue here. I was talking to Willie J, my good buddy, my business partner, and we were talking about abundance. And I talk a lot to you about abundance and about all of that radical generosity and those kind of things that starts with your radical honesty, that starts with your clarity, right? And we were talking about specifically about abundance and about how much we've missed it, because abundance immediately feels like a money discussion to us. Like if I just only could open my wallet and magically find, an unlimited supply of $100 bills in there. Or even better yet, that I could just open my drawer over here and instead of the papers and the pens and stuff that are in it, it would actually be just filled with diamonds, right? Wouldn't that be awesome? God could totally do that. I don't think it's probably going to happen, but I'm not opposed to having it happen. But that, even in that, is an abundance. The problem with using any numeric number, financial based number to determine whether you're abundant is that's going to change. It's totally cyclical. Even if it's sitting in a closet, worse yet, if it is sitting in a closet, because, it's available to be stolen. Mice and rats could get into it and eat it, all those kind of things. And, and if it's subject to interest rates, those go up and down. And if it's subject to the stock market, those go up and down. And the problem with abundance is that, when we tie that money to it, we're missing so much else. And so then when we move beyond that, we go that next step. And I've been talking in this whole thing about the clothing you wear and that costume you're wearing. And so we think to ourselves, if only I could be wearing Armani suits on stage, if I could be wearing the red bottom shoes, all those kind of things. If I could get those designer jeans, if I could wear the really expensive, I was looking at it the other day, and it just totally blows my mind, because there are a certain set of Nike Air Jordans that are just the absolute most comfortable tennis shoes I've ever had in my life. But I also got them in the 90s, in the mid to late 90s. Let's see, Alex was in T-ball, so that would have made him 5, and he was born in 95. So, 98, 99, somewhere in that range is when I got a pair of Air Jordans, and totally, absolutely the most comfortable tennis shoes I've ever had in my life. And you could still get a pair of them. There are people who definitely have those still, and they're like $1,000. And some days I think it's worth it. But, when we look at clothes and stuff like that, normally speaking, a lot of those designer things, when you actually put them on, they may look really great. You may feel really great about yourself when you look at you in the mirror. But the longer you wear them, the more you realize how less comfortable they are, really. Often going to Walmart or Target, Target, or Kohl's or something like that, and getting something that is totally your style, that really fits and is really comfortable, is really going to be a better quality as far as comfort and still looking nice. And that's true as well with this really sexy costume that we're wearing that we call confusion, lack, and fear. Because we've really actually got the clarity. You know how I know you have clarity? I know it absolutely because you've been you every single day for the entirety of your whole life. You've never stepped out of you. You've, even the times when you've been pretending, acting on stage and playing the part of somebody else, trying to fake out the whole rest of the world because you want them to see you as something else. And all of those kind of things. In every one of those circumstances, the inside of you, you were still just you. You were you. And you get to be you. And you are you. You. And you're an expert at it. You have your doctorate in it. But we wrap ourselves around in this, I'm not totally sure. I'm not real clear yet. I'm scared. What if people judged me? Okay, so let me break some of those myths. Let's start with the last one first. What if somebody does judge you? What's it going to do to you, really? I mean, even if I was watching on TV, just, I was passing through the room and I saw it. Some of you maybe know who Luke Bryan is. Luke Bryan is a fairly well-known, I would say very well-known country artist, right? I mean, isn't he like one of the judges now on American Idol or something like that? Anyway, he was singing at a concert in Minot, North Dakota, which 99% of you probably don't know where it is. And somebody threw like an apple or a baseball or something. I hit him in the face while he was up there singing in concert. So, the judging and those kind of things, they're going to happen. Do you think Luke Bryan was like, oh man, because of that, I'm going to stop. I'm completely changing careers and now I'm going to go be a janitor because this whole singing on stage thing has gotten too deadly and dangerous? No, he's just going to show up as the best version of him. There are the highs and the lows that go with it. Same thing's true with the best version of you. I guarantee you there are going to be people who are not going to resonate with you. Here's the real behind that. The people who diss you, the people who don't like what you have to say, the people who scroll through your stuff and don't listen to it, all of the people who are not your raving fans, when they opt out, when they boo, when they do nothing, whatever, that's the best, nicest thing they've ever could have done for you. They get out of your way. Then you're not spending your time, wasting your time talking to people who have nothing to do with and aren't your people. I love how Seth Godin said it. He said, it's better to have 100 raving fans than 10,000 people who could care less. Now for those of you who don't know, Seth Godin was the original marketing director for Yahoo. He deeply, really, really intensely understands social media on a level that most of us will never really understand. Because way before Facebook, way before LinkedIn, there was Yahoo. And at one point, basically when it came to social media, Yahoo was it. it was social media, it was, it was a search engine, all those kind of things, right? And Yahoo isn't what it used to be. And Seth Godin doesn't work for them anymore either. But I like how he said that because it speaks very directly to our social media culture. What you really need, and I even go further than what Seth did in that. What you really need is one person that's your ride or die. You know, you need a fan that's just like, oh man, yeah, I'm there. He says something crazy, I want to be there laughing at it. If he repeats the same word over and over again, I'm turning it into a drinking game, and I'm on live every day with Steve because the dude cracks me up, and he's my guy. Okay, absolutely, positively, that is what you want, and to have that one person and to nurture and love them. I love the story I heard. I heard told by, the guy was at that point the CEO for Prudential Insurance. And this was back in oh gosh, that was probably sometime in the 90s as well. And he was talking about Prudential, which is a huge insurance company, right? Back in the Depression, they were an insurance company during the Depression. And literally, and he was, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe was one of the founders, like the original CEO for Prudential Insurance, was literally sitting at the bedside next to a client, ministering to them, nursing them, doing anything that he could do to help that person live. Because the harsh, cruel, true reality for Prudential Insurance was, and they did care, and he did really legitimately care. But from a business standpoint, it literally meant that if this person died, the company was out of business. They would be able to pay his insurance claim, and they were going to go bankrupt from there. And it was just a reality, and we're talking about during the Depression, after the stock market crash and all those kind of things. And it was a tough time. But what if we treated our business? What if we treated every single person in our business that way? What if Prudential Insurance still treated their customers that way? Now, I'm not saying that the CEO can travel around and hold the hands of every single person every time they get sick. That's all the people they insure. But what if we made them feel that way? What if we gave them that level of white glove concierge? We got you. We love you. We're here for you level of service. You see, that's the real. That's the clear. The sexy excuse is the what if they judge me? The sexy excuse, the costume that we're wearing is, yeah, but I'm afraid. If we care at that level, again, going back to our 3 C's, connection, our heart condition. Do we care about the people? Which shows up because of, it shows up by us being consistent. When we're connected, we care about them. We consistently reach out to them, even if we're unclear. Because here's what I know positively is you could write a book. And I'm not suggesting this, okay, but I do know it to be a fact. You could write a book, have a typo and bad grammar and everything in every single sentence through the whole entire book. And for the person that's waiting on that story, the person you're meant to serve, they will never see any of it. I've actually seen this proven several different times, although I always remember my good friend and one of my former coaches, her name's Debbie Page, Debbie talking about a new header she did on Facebook. And there was a typo in it, and she didn't notice it. She didn't catch it. And it had some kind of quote in it, And people were raving about it. Oh, thank you. Oh, man, that's exactly what I needed to hear. Thanks for, saying that. And then, as they do, somebody, all with their caring, I'm sure, was like, hey, you've got a typo in that. And I love how Debbie handled that. And I've tried to kind of adopt this, and I don't always do it. I'm human. I have failures. But I always have this thought process, and that's and that's this. She said, oh, thank you for finding that. And then she said, and that's all she said to them. She said to us, And the people she was teaching, using that as an example, she goes, I also really appreciated that they identified themselves as not my ideal client. Because I know that my ideal clients who had already, many of them commented on it, didn't care that there was a typo, didn't even see it. Because when you give a person who's dying of thirst, when you give them a sip of water, they don't care if the glass is clean. They don't care if it's a recycled bottle. They don't care if it's tap water, swamp water. I mean, and I realize some of those, may or may not necessarily be good for you. But when you're at that level of dying of thirst, the lightest drop of rain caught on your tongue is the biggest miracle you'll ever experience. And the rain may have fallen through all kinds of yuck and ick and stuff. That's why, you see, whether you're talking about dogs or I've even seen people lapping at mud puddles. Because when you're thirsty enough, anything's better than nothing. And the something that you put out absolutely makes the difference for the person that you're meant to meet. So we got to take that. And no, I'm not going to strip on this video for you, okay? It was an analogy and a little bit of Steve snark. But when we do take that off, I love it. I heard somebody, I think it was Kevin Smith actually said, he said, the most interesting part about Superman is with every other superhero, they have their who they are, and then they put on their superhero costume to go out and save the world, and whatever that might be. With Superman puts on his earthling costume to go out and spend his time in the world. And he takes off his costume to go and save the world. You see, you're Superman. You're walking around with that sexy excuse, that beautifully sexy costume of, I'm not ready yet. I need just a little more time to prepare. I'm really afraid. What if they don't like it? And that sexy layer upon layer. And that's why I said all of those, is because you put it on like layers. Like it's the dead of winter, and you put on the thermal underwear, and then you put the t-shirt over top of that, and then you put the sweatshirt over top of that, and then you put the hoodie over top of that, and then you put the parka over top of that, and then you put on the gloves. And if it's really cold, you put, one pair of like a cloth material, like, knitted gloves on, and then you put on a pair of like snow gloves over top of them. Now, some of you have never been in climates that are that cold, but those of you that have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you're out there and you zip the parka all the way up, so you've got that little, and if it's cold enough, I mean, you've got goggles on and you've got a ski mask on. And that's what we do with our clarity. We've got the goggles and the ski mask and the parka and the hoodie and the sweater and the t-shirt and the thermal underwear. We've got all of those, and they're all just, and we bought them all designer, Armani parkas, which I don't think they make. I'm sure somebody could tell me what the Armani of parkas are. But really, and we do that. And we hide from the world behind our sexy excuses, and we get through one more day. But what you need is clarity. You need to drop the word clarity right now. You need to, I'm on live. Here, yeah, give it to me. Okay. So, yeah. And life happens and you just go on. We do the thing, right? I apologize. I totally lost my train of where I was completely. Give me a second to reboot. Let's all do it again like we've done. Let's all take a deep breath. Recenter and come back in line. Okay, perfect. So, it's time to remove all of the sexy stuff that we put on to hide ourselves from the world. And it's time to really, truly show up as just who you are. So I do need you to drop the word clarity, and we need to get you clear on exactly who you are, who you're meant to serve, what they need, and of all the things you could teach them, what's the one thing you have to say to them? And when distractions come, when you completely lose your train of thought and you're not totally sure where to go next, you just acknowledge it. You were all here for the perfect example of it. And I want you to see that it's still okay. My face didn't fall off. My janky hair, is just as janky as it's been the whole entire time. My phone that wasn't here in the room, is now here in the room quawking at us. And you still need to be clear. None of those are good enough excuses for me to just be like, oh, that's it, I give up and I quit. I could have done that. There was a knock on the door. I could have hit end stream and just been all done and been all frazzled and frustrated. And it's been that kind of a day all day long anyway. Messages coming one after another, and you just get to that place where you just, we all have that. But clarity allows you to just show up. And when you're ready to be raw and real in you, and I know that's scary, and I'm not dissing the fear of it, I'm just simply telling you that it's okay to embrace it rather than use it as another reason to hide. It's okay to be completely distracted and not completely know exactly where you were or what to say. And that's all right too. Because I still know, even though I'm completely off track right now, I still know that you need clarity. I know you need to drop the word clarity. I know that, like me, you dress up in this costume of all the excuses that we make to keep us from being clear, getting clear, living clear, and clearly, consistently connecting with the people that we're meant to connect with. And we need to do that today. So I'm inviting you, drop the word clarity, come in and join us in the Visibility Amplifier community. That's visibilityamplifier.com. And really commit to today. Today is your day to start your clarity journey. Drop the word clarity in the comments. Send me a DM clarity. Let's get you clear. The vulnerability is very expensive. It's more expensive for you even than it is for the people who can't hear you because you're not there available for them. But it's very expensive. And what I need you to do today is just allow yourself to be vulnerable and valuable, to do the thing that only you can do. We're only stripping away the things that you don't really want anyway. You don't want to be afraid. You don't want to be unclear. You don't want all the sexy excuses. You just have gotten used to them. And it's okay to let them go today. Please do take the time today to be willing to run naked in the streets as the totally real you. Now, I don't mean literally naked in the streets. Somebody's going to be like, I was out naked in the streets, and they use me as an excuse for the police officers. Steve told me to do it. You need to find your voice. Drop the word voice in the comments. Drop the word clarity in the comments. Do come join us in the Visibility Amplifier community at visibilityamplifier.com. It's not about being polished. It's not about being perfect. It's also not about the excuses that all of us make. It's just simply about showing up, about having the heart to connect, the willingness to connect consistently, and taking the time to speak it, which is the first place your clarity comes, and to reach out for the help to help you clearly get clarity so that you can show up for the person who's already ready and waiting to hear you today. Thanks for doing it. I appreciate you. You're amazing. And I hope until we're together again next time, you have a great week.